Hello, people. Affirmative action. Roe versus Wade. I'm not a lawyer. Lawyers have been, as evidence, as hyper evidential, lawyers have been since founding, with the branches of government, with other countries individually grouped in together, incapable of defending their logic and of affording that which is actually sophisticated science, actually our means to discern. So, what precedents and statutes means is still criminally foreign influence. Our founders left us to communicate and understand about why the North and the South were still entrenched with slavery against everyone. Sickly distinctly, because while it was being sustained, it had already been sustained, was sustained against the Native Americans, and that was ongoing when they were, and that was already sustained against Native colonists against colonists. Fake sides as the hyper-native humanity, individual group differences in the species body of volume. We have the other species that also have male v female species body. There is an identity there per science. See now per the science of ancient pantheism, which came with hyperpantheism, because only this is what the contemplation of each person is about. But these additional reasons may where you could be systems other. Since some ancient times, we could ignore its system, what's going to cause positive, not just positive that's not criminal insidious in this nature, where that could be forced by individuals grouped together, it can be forced away from here, leads of ideas, as negative value nature progression, negative identity of relationship to itself. The identity of the hyper simultaneous, that which is discernible because it's got the same. It is distinctly, non-distinctly, and is simultaneously each. It is further hyper simultaneously each. The writers of the Quran and of the Old Testament knew that everyone would be fake, including the people at their locations defending them, and they would defend the books with passions and emotions out of sequence, and then defending that. That's why they say the most important part, both the Quran and the Old Testament have a part that's right up front. The Old Testament says, all you have to understand is right to here, and the people of the sciences will come together. It's because the sciences share an identity where they appear not to. It's teaching us about exception nature, and special difference. It's also where and how they're in demonstration the same thing. So therefore, slash s vaccine. For example, each of the sciences, even the religions, our founders told us to have no torture. We know torture was standing. This breaching method measured was sophistication as law since before our founders were even born. See what they call sophistication now is fake. In other words, they're the criminal insidious natures of positive value nature, progressive action nature, evolutions, fruits, and gifts. Real evolution, including where and how we are quality as factory nature, especially regarding this, many ways. See how they have the guy who who's famous for the theory of relativity and of special relativity. No, not e special. See, I'm not saying he did this, but to an extent, I mean, everyone's doing it. Everyone's measuring, maintaining for the breaching method, though. In other words, you guys have our founders blamed for slavery. You left out, oh, what's your research? All the research, excuse me, it's known. We shouldn't have to debate things that are known because everyone read crazy stories. Our founders have to counter extort to other people entrenched with the crazy torture slavery method against everyone. Oh, those people had a lot of money. But in other words, They could be a king or a pharaoh. If you're over locations, areas, and states using criminally foreign influence, dilute tactical delusions, wrought positive treatments, let alone negative treatments, let alone the inclusion. Slash S. The breaching method propagated. Countries forced, tricked, persuaded, and worse, to, to defend themselves, where they would have to defend themselves from things like criminal insidiousness, things like criminal foreign influences. Not because we have foreign involvement. So we're not because we're now systems other than how nature employed our names. Individual, our group differences, our differences. This is nature's difference. Everyone's ignoring. So it's in other words, everyone has the same enemy that came from semi-ancient times. There are proofs it was a regular criminal enterprise, and it knew it was going to get caught, and it knew that the only way they could fix that was to keep getting people to blame other people, things, or selves wrongly, and then to defend that where they did really bad things to people. Because one of the proofs of it is because there's an identity right there that answers our questions. See, this thing Brett measured and maintained the whole time. This thing was sophistication here before our founders were born. It designed the suburbs before cars, let alone trucks, cranes, highways. Ever we could all work together as species by. Instead, we took the elements, let it go. Uh, so what's affirmative action and diversity? How about the term diversity? The breaching method measures and maintains. It built the suburbs tactically denatured for that torture slavery method against everyone, and everyone had to pretend other. Otherwise, everyone was sent to each other and from abroad, individually grouped and together. The suits and ties and the counters, their foundation is still self-valued. Criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. Value nature systems, tactical terror, from the one the Constitution on the bridge is about. It's about how it's a hyper additional nature. It's only increasing identity of volume slash S individually grouped together. It's about difference, tactical terrier, than these fake sides of logic, fake integrity. In other words, it's bullying logic, leaving out the quality of diffusion. It's the value of life to the hyper simultaneous to make more of its identity of volume. It's not an identity in body, but it is distinctly the identity that is to come. It's not done yet with any body that's living, while it is the one that has already been. But while it is also one that is active right now, quality of diffusion, the ancients, the ancients allowed. I mean, they valued their differences. They to be able to find because it answers our questions. It is like all the different parts of our body share a semi-nature relationship to our complete body. Your all the parts of your body share a semi-nature relationship to your complete identity. They also share one distinct as how they are grouped parts, and then everyone is simultaneously a species body as an individual. When you're being a sequence nature, and a simultaneous nature are two different identities of simultaneous nature. Where a hyper simultaneous is hyper conjunctive to all things, for how it is only making more of its identity of volume. So sequence is critical. Sequence shifts our self value with the defenses of the logic of the people of the passions and emotions, with their passions and emotions regarding summaries of the other sciences too, and the relativity of it. The Ukraine, Russia, and America right there mixed with it, the whole world. You have wars still going on. You guys are still offensively a front, self-valuing those wars and rolls with it. Oh, but it's in defense. You can't put that on paper because you get crushed because your tactical delusions raw. You see, in same countries have roles of psychiatry here. Whole bunch of people planting evidences, all sides of criminal and civil cases, victims, advocates, and the news media at the same time, still putting fake lies together. At the same time, people in the hallways of the courts, interbrain switching names, sequences. No, this thing measured that the suburbs are going to cause negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. It designed the only means is to cause positive value nature progressions, acts, and natures. People are going to partake in means to cause criminal insidiousness natures of positive means to cause positive value nature progressions, acts, and natures. Therefore, names. Play no games, boxing. So affirmative action. If you allow anyone, if you deny that the cities were designed for torture, if you deny that the suburbs were designed for torture, you're going to have inherent active progressive. I mean, increasingly to your logic, demonstrations of means to demonstrate that. You're going to have sequence shift cell value. You're going to have perspective on the past, criminally foreign influence, quality of factual nature aspects, quality, nature. See criminal insidiousness as nature, as a negative identity of relationship to itself, whether positive or not. So, affirmative action and or diversity. It's one of the things that's not the word diversity, but they may measure to mean diversity because it's fake science and other was pretended. How that is gotten away with is how remote possession of all investigators, and of their campuses is maintained by the system. We know it was a predicate acts delivery system method. We know the identities law that would deny that. That's part of the reason is because they're valuing all the sick takes on American history fake, and sick too because because it's the American the history's too hard for people to understand. No, it's not. Everyone was sickly, distinctly hurt by a slavery method. Not one people, everyone. Where we are, quality is factory in nature too. Of course, and everyone's forced to not deny that or be sensed and hurt to our own. That was sustained. Not one has trained. See, president slash chief, they're not supposed to get along. I mean, they're not supposed to be compatible volumes until we're all liberating, having realized the liberation of hypernative answers, hyper simultaneous, hyper relativity, let alone relativity. It is the identity of relativity, but it is also the identity of that is the truth. What really was, even if everyone agrees to lie about the past, and deny the significance of, oh, this is our factory we need during way, and you're gonna pretend science spoke with passion, emotion. They're critical to science, true. Because if even if everyone's lying, and someone could know because they know one little detail that everyone's a system other than nature's, that person is given by the power of nature. This is the consciousness that the other species share too. Distinctly, non distinctly, hyper simultaneous. The other species have no criminal foreign influences defined by it. The languages were revealed to teach this. They were revealed teaching this. Individually grouped in together, they were valuing their differences and how exceptions appearing to be in demonstration of other were, are teach about how what exception nature is being used, and which is with a special difference, and which is where and how identity is functional properly. For proper description of that, people make pretend passions and emotions that the value of someone based on how much they succeed or success. That's another thing. Other than one hand, they're saying, "Oh, well, the success. I want to talk success." So where's success? The suburbs are tactically denatured. If you're on and designed for torture, that's not right to make someone entertain criminal insidiousness natures of industries. The mental health care industry since before, they're sick. Those databases, no one's looking at those databases. That anomaly's been exploited. All sides in criminal and civil cases still since founding, and the victims and the victims advocates. They have victims advocates associated with courts, involved through time with overt criminal enterprises with little kids, right on and off campus with the interbranch families, not legitimately with all these other countries. Oh, this is a criminal justice. Oh, but we have immunity. Yeah, they have rules of predicate acts delivery system method. They have rules of tactical delusions. Tell me, Hartford, Connecticut is a suburb slash city. Right now. Excuse me. The North and South. Our founders had to quickly counter extort. 13 people are in positions in that. Right, right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, here in Wethersfield, Connecticut, George Washington had to counter extort the people involved with that slavery method against everyone, including him. Not just because he wasn't just extorted. Our founders had to lie about their real motivations coming up with the Constitution because they were conceived as criminal enterprise. But we know, even after the country was founded, okay, we know the Constitution ratified. What was still entrenched, the breaching method put it that way. So when people would break out in stages, anyway, everyone's too stupid, and or criminal insidiousness nature as smart wrongdoers. You know, mass wrongdoing used remotely, even until it was predicate. It's a predicate acts delivery system method. What both Jim Crow laws and slavery is about. You don't bring up that slavery and leave out how the slavery of everyone. Oh, but you don't compare. Well, what about how we're in the city? Exactly. The science stays on that. You don't tell that person go work. Who somehow you're going to be successful. Success what? Evaluate well, the people with the ethics. You have to examine what I caught them doing. I couldn't imagine. I mean, everyone will be able to observe this. You just have to stay. In other words, who's gonna deny that New York City is not free? Again, they're gonna have inherent active and progressive to their lives. How did they get away with it so long? That's where they put the black and white thing overtly. These are countries that are legal identities that are now tactical names, tactical terror from how we are individual grouped together. There are these sick people that put people in jail. They've been way worse predicate auxiliary system method roles. Tactically delusions raw. Science never spoke. Give passions back to the name of science and emotions. Emotions are only true if they're going to stay on that quality of fact human nature. It doesn't leave out those things. Doesn't leave out the value of what came first. They increasingly every year. In other words, you have to understand when you're a little kid, and they knew that little kids would do this, use correlation to know that the Native Americans were hurt sickly distinctly, to know that the colonists were hurt sickly distinctly, and to know that everyone was hurt sickly distinctly, and they were fighting themselves, even the Native Americans against Native Americans, because their education was changed. They tactically denatured these are not our means. We know they're not our means because they were set up. Oh, but the value, but the economy. The economy, therefore, is criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw itself. That's what it's actually recorded as. It's no excuse. Could go like that, and we could all free. We have cars. We could do better than this. Space beams come out of nowhere. See, but they built those things to cause negative value nature progression X natures. This is the and the exceptions too. To have syntactically managed the festival can't speak proper for logic. So they have a whole bunch of mental diagnosis. They've been doing it so long, they've been fabricating audio and video into transcripts into databases. People with the Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center. The World Trade Center has roles also with the military, police, family, KKK theme, Confederate flag theme, black theme. Then they got roles with Koreans, Italians, all these countries, Russians, Ukraine, they have psychiatry. They have roles of psychiatry, hold their family members, their extended family members, criminally foreign influence uses of corners of streets, including the original ones our founders left us to demonstrate. Nothing to glorify anywhere. They were slaves themselves, including as factory nature. You guys leave everything reversed because you left you have the police departments fabricating conversations with people because they did so with kids years ago. Our police departments are mixed with the FBI, state police, and other identities of even private people putting fake tricks. You know how many ways there are to criminally conceive a court and make a fake side? Oh, well, let's have a jury decide. You guys are sick. Yeah, they have people that are being self cultivated, incapable of thinking. and they want to debate this. Check their premises in the news. They attach me to fake words, fake locations with themselves and with other people, and about the World Trade Center, and with Connecticut interbranch switching names. They're extorting me. They've been planting evidences on boxing gyms, and they have the people involved with it. They have judges' families in when they were kids try to make fake exceptions to know me real fast. They even ones that were in relationships with themselves, and then the other boyfriends of them and their family members. They just plant evidences. There's a method. There are methods of bringing things before courts and locking all sides in cases. Their lawyers, victims, and victims advocates, federal evidences crimes roles, and then people are using that as evidences. Please follow mandated law. You can't just call them on the phone. You can't, in other words, they put fake emails and fake mail. They have mail fraud. So we need to do this. Keep it simple. I didn't say any email. And this is all I swear under oath, under perjury, penalty of perjury. This is all true. Nothing but the truth. So help me God. God is so help them me so hyper simultaneous. God is a variable. God is more probably is demonstrably more probably an algebraic variable, a God variable. Now, how you say thank God is something really positive, though. Is the economy really positive? Our founders communicated for us to demonstrate and to understand how that was economy was forced not just by other people on other bodies, but through them also. Now, how you counter that is by letting nature, by being that quality of factory nature. New York City is being tortured. Stop! And right there, the whole species body comes behind it. Can't do it because we have to understand without doing understand them in the same trap. Same. It's not by accident. Suburbs in Russia and America, excuse me, in Ukraine, look just the way they do it. They look the same thing. And they were designed before our founders were born and before cars, let alone what we could build. Even we with our car, better than free. That's a different. That's a hyper nature employment. Nature plays us want to do things. At least get the base free first. You want to deny that they've been torturing them. They've been doing it vertically and horizontally. Keep between the campuses, collusions, the uses of that. They have remote uses of the kids of the criminal insidiousness natures, not just of criminal enterprises, but of branches of the same time. They have criminally foreign influence, A, therefore B, logic, and natures, and all tied to them. And that includes foreign and domestic medical and their patients and criminals before they got caught. And since they've been even roles changing and fabricating and lying about how they feel about what's on typed on. They're putting, up on Facebook. They have a principal child abuser who's also proven at first and since they have more with New Britain Superior Court, Hartford Courts, with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, planting federal evidences crimes, extortion acts roles, identity theft, fraud, slander roles, including with Hartford Courts, New Britain Courts, with West Hartford locations, New Britain locations. Fake ties to people on campuses, we got the deans of students, principals of schools, families of governors. They said the governors are communicating by silence too. That they have all kinds of roles with East Hartford names, people named Bobby that are male and female. involved with Elm Street and Rocky Hill. Whole bunch of people involved through time with identity theft, fraud, slanders, fake exceptions that weren't at all. Like Joshua Julian is one on the principal child defenders, and ones that went out of their way. Federal evidence is crimes, identity theft, fraud, slanders, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions, raw, sequence shifts, little tricks in databases. He said, she said. You know, they're leaving out the foreign names involved here and there. It's not because they're blaming that wrong too, because it came through everything. Even if we have to just blame the self value identity of negative value nature progression, but it was also remote uses of that self value. Self value because it's exploiting how the identity works. Stupid jerks. You want to speak for law. The, you're a certain type of victim slash hyper victim. Victim predator, hyper predator. No one's opinion, let alone their convictions. No one's conviction can say that science it has any location of America free. Oh, it's debatable. Fix the news. Fix the fake news. But the news is being influenced to pretend it's personal. Then they sustain that. They lock their family members. They're trying to group. They have it's crazy. They have a mom squad with WFSB involved with female judges, females that work with the court, involved with child offenders. Has something to do with the roles on off WFSB through time. Whole bunch of people from Yukon involved with the military, with an Eric Oliveri, and with a Joshua Stryker, and others on off Trinity College involved with a former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and some judges and their family members with federal evidence crimes and with untimely death rolls and within as rolls that brought up confessions that brought up the principal child abuser's campus. Then they falsified police reports against me with that. Since I was a kid, they've been falsifying police reports against me. Intercities, people rolls with Weathersfield into Branch and their family members. Yeah, get them on paper. Don't let them pretend that they speak for um that the breaching method measures and maintains that there's no diversity. That diversity, that people that are pretending to be against diversity are simultaneously telling you, well, we're this logic that accords with not enough success for everyone yet to go around. So we're not free until the last person is. And these campuses are sick. They're communicating other where the answer was the human fact treatment nature breaching method. Things like that. They're communicating other where the answer was a predicate act delivery system method. I'm not even a lawyer. I'm not a police force, I'm not a criminal, I'm not a judge. We have these means. What was so it designed that the cities to measure and effectively used to measure and maintain. Who's going to entertain that being built? Can't defend the Constitution unabridged. They read what our founders told us. Our founders didn't have free speech. They had to hide, but their motives what brought the Tea Party, what brought the Constitution, Constitutional Convention, what brought Marbury versus Madison. That's all we need, Marbury versus Madison. And they said to get the Constitution on a bridge. You guys want to talk about amendments, leaving out the breaching method. Get down. Bow. Fall. But there you see the wall. You fake branches stand. It's not the oh blame this person, blame that person, all rage to keep out the sequence drill. I've been asking every year since before the World Trade Center attack, and then just I didn't know it was going to be people in the attack. And I was in the Ninth Circuit Court right next to the World Trade Center right before the attack. And that's one of the things, one of the cases where people on all sides of the case, people in the hallways of court, people next to it, rolls with federal evidence as crimes against me, sequence sheriffs, insidious rolls with names tied to predicate acts on my street, years before that and leading up to it, and since. As the people with Weathersfield Police, a lot of people have been posting on my comments. One of them said that Powell, that's one of the Weathersfield Police names. I never met him. I mean, I don't know if I did. They forged names, switched names. Then they arrest you. They don't give you writing. They put a charge. Then they attach confessions to it. They switch the arresting officer's names. They have three guys that use the name McGee. Then they say they have one guy who has that. They teach everyone to fake conversations with each other. Remember, they ask for someone about things that weren't even there. Then they ask them about that. In other words, they're just writing what they want and playing stupid. They're preventing mandated law. All these countries, they don't have a right to make sure they get on paper. I'll show you how to fix the things. And women, what the court is trying to say, in other words, Roe versus Wade is the name of a court case about a complicated decision where and how women are sickly, distinctly victims. This is this is to keep out how sickly, not distinctly, and or sense, you know, the reason approaching with that. Everyone wants to approach that fake reason. Um, the suburbs are entertained the way they are. We have might to build on infrastructure. Oh, but it wouldn't be free. How is it free? How is that? How is that liberty? Oh, because we earned it. What'd you earn? You earned that by. So we have to address them on paper. We have tactical delusions with simultaneously criminally foreign influence, fact checking nature, quality aspects in nature. Romulus is a function of the republic. It is more probable and it is more practical to convict. YouTuber Anthony Wall. Yeah. Just force mandated law who disbelieves. Tell me that name. Get the New Britain Superior Court, Hartford Courts. Hartford Courts have roles with former Director of the FBI, Robert Lusky, his co-defendants before the World Trade Center attack. Then since it, and with the military, foreign and domestic, including attacking bodies. They force them to roll some ways, the other way, same time, because they're locking them stay fake. Individual names, grouped, and species body, tactical terrier, from how nature needs it, and is using this name, these names. I play no games, boxing. It only feels like games. Evolution science. This is not.